About 25 feet. He's still there. Oh! He had it. He had him, or he had it. I still see him. He's chasing it down. There we go. There we go. Got the same fish. Woo! Let's go. That was sweet. He ate it twice, man. All right. Oh, there's another one. There's two more. He popped off. Perfect. All right. Quick release. Look at that, guys. Lake trout through the ice. Let's get him out of here before he freezes. Woo! See you, buddy. And there's two more. Oh my gosh.
I gotta watch this. Oh my god, dude.
There's three now.
Four.
Oh my god.
Dude, I need to start fishing. What am I doing?
Well, hey guys, I wanted to do this video on the water last week when I was actually in person live fishing for lake trout, but it was the worst conditions ever. You guys probably saw in that first clip, it was super windy, super cold. There was no way I was gonna get any clean audio and be able to talk to you guys with it being workable audio. So I'm now doing this at home, unfortunately, but I'm going to kind of break down the gear that you need for lake trout. But I would like to preface this video by saying that this is not gonna be about targeting those big, super old lake trout. Those fish are a whole nother ball game, and honestly, you have to be on your P's and Q's before you have to even consider targeting a fish like that. So, in order to familiarize ourselves with lake trout and how they behave, we're gonna be catching and targeting those smaller pup-sized lake trout. Now, those fish are gonna be anywhere from 10 inches up to 26 inches, and depending on the lake, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. I'd say 26 inches is about that cutoff for a pup-sized lake trout. That's right when they start getting a little bit older, start eating those really, really big food sources. So that's gonna be about where that size range is gonna be. All the pup-sized lake trout are gonna behave just about the same, but they're not gonna be quite as aggressive, or should I say stubborn, as the big lake trout. So if we familiarize ourselves with those pup-sized lake trout, it's gonna make that jump towards the big lake trout a lot easier. So we're gonna be talking about what gear and what lures we need for targeting those pup-sized fish. So let's break it down. Where are we gonna find these pup lake trout? Pup lake trout tend to sit in the same areas that the big fish like to sit in. Whether it's shallower, deeper, you'll find them just about anywhere. Pup lake trout can be in 30 feet of water down to 200 feet. They just kind of find wherever is comfortable to them at that time. My favorite spot to fish for them is on flats. You're looking at a topographic map of your lake or whatever your system is. There's gonna be deep points or flat sections. There's gonna be bumps, there's gonna be points, all these kind of random structure points. Where I like to find them is in flat sections that are not in the deepest water. Now, I might find flat sections that are down here. I might find flat sections up here. Are kind of like somewhere in the middle. So let's say you have a 100-foot lake. There's a flat system on a 50-foot point. There's a flat system on a 70-foot point and on a 90-foot point. I'm probably gonna be fishing that 70-foot point just because more food's gonna relate to that middle section rather than the upper or lower. Finding lake trout, you have to find their food in order to catch them. So that's why I kind of like that middle structure zone. Flats seem to always work for me. Obviously, points are gonna work really well. Bumps up in the bottom of flats, stuff like that. Those are great points to look. I'm just simplistic with my approach, and I like targeting flats just because I know fish are always gonna be cruising through there. So at some point throughout the day, I'm gonna be marking fish. So the gear that you need for the fish that you're actually gonna catch throughout the day, for those pup lake trout that are still can grow up to 2 feet long, if not more. Who doesn't want to catch a 2-foot fish? That sounds awesome, right? I mean, obviously you compare it to another lake trout and you're gonna be kind of bummed out, but not me, not ever. I love catching lake trout. They're a ton of fun. They're super aggressive. So the gear that I love to use for lake trout fishing are medium rods. Medium rods seem to do everything for me. They have enough power to catch fish of any size. So this is a 28-inch medium rod. I also have a 30-inch. I don't think there's too much of a difference between the two. But I have a personal favorite, and that is this setup. Now, unfortunately, this setup here, this is a discontinued rod. This is the infrared from 13 Fishing, but they do still have the infrared, but they only make them in 40-inch models. I like the 30-inch because I can fish in a tent, I can fish outside. It's got very, very powerful flex to it. It's got a huge backbone. This can handle hook sets down to 70 feet plus. I mean, I've caught the majority of my fish on this rod. I have zero issues with it. Now, obviously, your line setups are gonna be a little different depending on your rod and all that kind of stuff. With this smaller, flimsier medium rod, I use 6-pound fluorocarbon. 6-pound fluorocarbon seems to do the trick for me. This is gonna be a 1/8 ounce buckshot spoon. The buckshot spoon is fantastic. It calls in lake trout. It's small, it's natural. That red hook just offers enough pop on there. And if you put a minnow head on there, you get that extra scent. This is a perfect setup. I love this setup, especially in shallower water. It still catches fish in deep water, but for that 50 and up range, this is gonna be the rod that I tend to use a lot. Whereas when I'm targeting that deeper water, I'm gonna be using this. So this setup here is gonna be my confidence setup for just about everything. Like I said, it's kind of a more powerful medium. So, you know, when you're looking at a rod to purchase, maybe consider that. Is this gonna be a bit more powerful of a medium? That's kind of the rod you wanna be looking at, especially when you're fishing lake trout, because a lot of times you're gonna be fishing deep water. So you need something to withstand a powerful hook set and not turn into an absolute noodle when you do that. This needs to have minor flexing. You know, I mean, I'm flexing it a lot, but this is not nearly in comparison to what I can do with this rod here. This rod is just an absolute deep water. I don't trust this rod a ton. So I have a Shimano Sedona, and this is a 2500 size. Is this much reel necessary? No, not at all. I actually use this on my spin setup on my standard 7-foot medium fast rod, you know, my kind of do-all spinning rod. But this reel doubles up really well, so I don't need to purchase 2 different reels. This is the same setup I use year-round, whether I'm bass fishing, trout fishing with jerk baits, stuff like that. This is gonna have 20-pound braid on there, and this is a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. The reason I like this setup is the braid allows for ultimate strike detection. It's got, you know, it's super durable, especially around the hole when you're reeling in fish. And then this 10-pound is strong enough to handle just about everything. I've never had this break when I've been fighting a fish. It can withstand getting cut by their teeth, stuff like that. So I trust this setup. Now, what are going to be my favorite lures for lake trout fishing? Well, this is actually, again, going to be a lot simpler than a lot of people make it out to be. They are predators. They're going to want to eat fish. So if you have something that generally looks like a fish, you're probably going to get a luck or two. My absolute go-to lure is this guy here, the Jig and Wrap. The Jig and Wrap from Rapala is absolutely awesome. I love this thing. I've called in so many fish on this, whether it's lake trout, walleye, bass, whatever. This lure catches fish for me. I love this color setup. It's a goofy color setup, so it's, you know, some people might not like it. I tend to fish colors that are just a little bit different just because, I don't know, some of the weird color just I have confidence in. This is gonna be the size 3. Now, play with your sizing depending on the body of water you're at. In the western states where, again, our reservoirs are generally smaller, I just tend to fish a slightly smaller one just so it's not a super bold presentation, especially when everyone's throwing that 6-inch tube jig. So that is going to be my absolute go-to favorite. It's a heavy lure, so I can feel it every single time I jig it down on the bottom. It's got 3 different hooks on it. I guess 5 if you want to include the treble. So if they eat it, you're probably going to hook them. And I do love that about this. I usually tip this bottom section here with a minnow head. That's enough scent to call them in, make sure it's a realistic profile for them. I love this setup here. This is probably my go-to day-to-day setup for lake trout. I absolutely love this. Now, others, I kind of showed you this buckshot here before. The buckshot is absolutely awesome. I've caught a ton of fish on the buckshot as well. Again, play with your colors for the buckshot. I do like the white colors or silver. Just seems to match, you know, like a small minnow really well. This is going to be the Wonder Bread coloration. Again, does it really matter? No. I just find confidence in something slightly weird. That Wonder Bread is weird enough for me. So I like that setup. A couple different other things that I like to use when I'm fishing for lake trout are going to be, if they're in very, very shallow water like they were in this video, I'm going to use a super light jig head. This is a 1/32 ounce round ball jig head. Color doesn't really matter. I just like pink. Pink I have a lot of confidence in. And then I tipped it with a 2.5 inch gulp minnow. This has a ton of scent on it. My fingers reeked for 2 days afterwards. I'm not used to fishing gulp minnows until the winter, and man, I always forget what they smell like. They don't smell good, which is why I picked up a ton of eats, especially when I had that super light jig head where I can kind of make that presentation just flutter very, very softly. I like that setup a lot for lake trout. Mini tube jigs seem to do the trick as well. That I've caught a fair amount of fish on. I also will fish like an 1/8 ounce jig head, and I'll have it tipped with a curly tail grub. Again, sizing, kind of play with it. I think this is a 3.5, 4-inch size. I've caught fish with it. It's a ton of fun. It's super effective. Just have a variety of stuff with you at all times you go. You know, I will even fish like these tiny little marabou jigs here. You know, if they're being super picky and they're in shallower water, that's what I'm gonna be doing. Throwing stuff like that works well for me. I'll also fish lures like these. This is gonna be a little lipless crank, specifically designed for ice. This is the Dynamic Lures HD Ice. This is actually really lightweight, but catches a ton of fish. It's, as you can see, it just looks like a fish. Got a great jigging profile to it, so I will fish something like that. I will also fish, I got a couple things stuck to each other right there, but a rattle trap as well. So just have a variety with you. Doesn't have to be as complicated as people make it. Just have something that looks like a fish and then go find them. But I think you guys have heard enough. Without getting too crazy into this lake trout endeavor, that's gonna cover the rod, the line, the lures that you need, and relatively where to find these fish. It's not gonna apply to everywhere, but this is what works for me out here in the West. So enough of my talking about the gear. Let's get back to the action.
There we go.
Got one?
Got another.
How's it feel?
It feels about the same. Woo! Actually, it's the best one of the day. Let's go! And he popped off. Oh my gosh, guys, look at this lake trout. Again, nothing big. It's kind of snaky and long, but look at that. Whew! Let's get him out of here quick, guys. Whew! Let's go! And there's still 2 fish down there. Oh my gosh. This is insane.
I'm not gonna go super close to you, but I'm gonna drill by you.
Do it. I think they just want to be a little bit deeper.
Moving out, yeah.
But they're suspended. Nice, dude.
Sweet. It's always exciting when one commits at least.
Yeah, right. Just one. That's all we need.
Well, I got another one down there too. Finally, dude.
I know, it's been a little long streak for you there.
An aggressive fish. Hey, the nice thing with today too is it's at least you've been getting action like all day.
Yeah, at least we've been marking fish and all that. It could have been where we didn't see anything. Oh, there we go. Yep, I got him on.
Nice,
Got a fish.
how's it feel?
Good. I mean, I have the light rod though, so he feels a lot nicer than he probably is.
Dude, that was spicy.
Yeah. Woo! that's a good one. Look at that, dude.
Oh, wait. Maybe I'm not covered.
Yeah, no, you catch your fish.
Oh, here, I want to see it.
Let go. Look at that, guys. Took the little gulp minnow on a 1/32 ounce jig. He's burping for us. Where's your manners? All right, let's get him out of here. Woohoo! Let's go. Got one? Yeah, buddy. I'm coming over. Woo! Let's go, Noah. Oh! Heck yeah, did you put a gulp on too?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. What color is that one? It looks like olive.
I don't know what color it is. These things are old, so it kind of changed color on me.
Heck yeah. Nice lake, dude. Nice. Woo! See ya, buddy.
Sweet.
Right on, dude. Nice.
Sweet.
Bam. Huh?
So now I need a new gulp.
I know, right? They last like one fish. Yeah. Oh, I'm into a fish. I was like, why is it not going down? I guess so. Look at that bad boy. Don't rip apart my... Don't rip it apart, man. Don't rip it apart. That's a pretty good one. Look at that. Hammering that gulp minnow. Same thing, 1/32 jig. Look at that. Nice healthy laker. Let's get him out of here. Woohoo! That's awesome, guys. So awesome. We're freezing our butts off out here, but man, this is we're finally getting on fish. Cannot complain one bit. Let's freaking go. My chair just damn near broke. Yeah, I'm like pulling on my line. I'm like, the heck? Why is it not going down? Two fish down there already.
Dude, right as I said, it's been coming
right? It doesn't help that I have a 1/32 ounce on.
What?
I said it doesn't help I have a 1/32 on.
Yeah.
Alrighty guys, well I think that's going to do it for today's episode. We had a ton of fun out there catching lake trout in absolutely brutal conditions. I was using the same exact gear that I was talking about in this video, and I hope that this intro helps you guys get started with your lake trout venture. They're not an easy fish, but they're a ton of fun no matter what size they are. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends, family, all that fun stuff. Please subscribe, and I will see you next week on Xavier Ground Fishing.